It was a birthday like any other on the public calendar. The smiling photographs, the well wishes from crowds, the official portraits. The world saw a future queen celebrating her 44th year with graceful poise. But behind the palace walls, away from the flashbulbs and protocol, this birthday held a different weight. For Catherine, it was a milestone whispered with the quiet anxieties of a challenging year, a yearning for normalcy amidst the unrelenting glare. And for William, it was a secret mission, not as a prince, but as a husband. His goal was not to give a gift fit for a princess, but to offer a balm to the woman he loved, a gift that would speak not to her title, but to her heart, to the girl from Buckleberry she used to be, and to the mother and wife she was at her core. This is the story of that gift, a testament to a love that has weathered over 2 decades, and the private moment where duty fell away and only 2 people with a shared history and an unwavering bond remained. The morning of January 9th dawned crisp and clear over Windsor. In the private family apartment, the usual cheerful birthday chaos was subdued, replaced by a softer, more intimate atmosphere. Their 3 children had already presented their handmade cards and carefully wrapped trinkets over an early breakfast, their excitement a bright, fleeting spark. Now, they were off to their lessons, leaving a rare quiet in their wake. Catherine, dressed in a simple, comfortable sweater and jeans, sat by the window with a cup of tea. The sunlight caught the faint traces of fatigue around her eyes, a subtle reminder of the year that had passed. The public saw her resilience, and she was resilient, but in these private quarters she allowed herself to feel the weight of it all. William watched her from the doorway, a familiar pang of protective love tightening his chest. He had seen the strain, the quiet moments of holding herself together for the sake of the family and the crown. Today, he was determined to give her a pause, a memory purely for herself. "No official engagements today," he said, walking into the room. "Just us. I have something for you, but it's not here." She turned, a warm, curious smile on her face. "You've already done so much." The children were thrilled with the little party. "This is different," he said, his voice uncharacteristically tentative. He held out his hand. "Trust me." The question, so simple, held layers of meaning. She placed her hand in his without a second's hesitation. "Always." He led her not towards the grand halls of the castle, but down a private corridor, then outside into the winter garden. The air was cold, and she laughed, a puff of breath visible in the air. "William, it's freezing. My gift is a case of frostbite." He just smiled, squeezing her hand. They walked along a gravel path, lined with dormant rose bushes, until they reached a small, familiar glass house. It was a place they sometimes stole moments, a pocket of green and quiet. But today, as he opened the door, she stopped. The interior was transformed. The usual potting benches were pushed to the sides. In the center, on a simple wooden easel, sat a canvas covered by cloth. Around the room, scattered on stools and tables, were dozens of familiar, worn objects. A scuffed leather football, a battered sketchbook with warped pages, a faded university scarf, a single, weathered sailing glove. It was a museum of their life. Her breath caught. She stepped inside, the humid air fragrant with the smell of earth and greenery. She moved slowly, her fingers hovering over each item. "Is that your football from St. Andrews?" she whispered, picking up the deflated ball. A memory flashed. A windswept pitch in Scotland, her cheering from the sidelines, his triumphant, mud-splattered grin. "And your first sketchbook from the art history course," he said, his voice soft behind her. "The one you thought you'd lost." She opened it, seeing her own youthful, earnest drawings of cathedral arches. Page after page of a life she'd almost forgotten in the whirlwind. There was the program from a Peter Pan play at their old university drama society, a ticket stub from a concert they'd sneaked off to, a pebble from a beach walk in Anglesey, their first home as a married couple. Where did you find all this?" Her voice was thick with emotion. "I had some help," he admitted. "From Pippa, from your parents. I've been collecting bits for months." He guided her gently towards the covered canvas. "This is the main part. But it's not for me alone. With a slight tremble in his hand that betrayed his own nerves, he pulled the cloth away. Catherine stared. It was a portrait, but unlike any official painting that hung in palace galleries. This was her, but not the Princess of Wales. This was Catherine. She was depicted in the gardens at Anmer Hall, wearing her Wellington boots and a wax jacket, her hair tousled by a breeze. She wasn't looking at the viewer, but off to the side, her face lit with a genuine, unrestrained laugh. At her feet, their old cocker spaniel, Lupo, who had passed years ago, was a blur of joyful motion. In her arms, a much younger George, his baby face pressed against her cheek. The style was impressionistic, full of light and movement, capturing a spontaneous moment of pure, unadulterated joy from a decade ago. It's us, she breathed, her hand rising to her mouth. Tears welled, blurring the beautiful image. James Middleby painted it, William explained, referring to a talented but relatively unknown artist known for his intimate family scenes. I gave him about 100 photographs. That one, from Mum's old camera, was always my favorite. You never knew it was taken. She stepped closer, her eyes drinking in every detail. The love in her own eyes for her son, the familiar landscape of their sanctuary, the ghost of a beloved pet. This was her life. Not the ceremonies or the crowns, but the muddy boots, the chaotic love, the private laughter. This was the soul of her. The children helped, too, William continued. He pointed to the lower corner of the canvas. There, subtly woven into the grass, were 3 small handprints in paint, George's, Charlotte's, and Louis's. A permanent part of the family portrait. A single tear escaped, tracing a path down her cheek. She was utterly speechless, overcome by the magnitude of the thought, the effort, the profound understanding this gift represented. William didn't just see the princess. He saw the woman, the mother, the girl he fell in love with in a university lecture hall. And he had bottled a piece of her happiest self and given it back to her. She turned to him, the tears now falling freely, but her face was radiant with a smile so wide and true it transformed her entirely. In that moment, she looked not a day older than the girl in the painting. She didn't say thank you. Words were inadequate. Instead, she reached for him, pulling him into a tight embrace, her face buried in his shoulder. He held her close, one hand cradling the back of her head, his own eyes closed in relief and love. They stood like that for a long time, surrounded by the artifacts of their shared journey, the portrait of their private joy shining beside them. Finally, she pulled back, wiping her cheeks with her palms, a laugh bubbling through her tears. "You absolute idiot," she whispered, the term of endearment packed with decades of affection. "You've completely ruined my composure for the day." He brushed a stray tear from her cheek with his thumb. "Good," he said simply. "No composure required here." She took his hand again and turned back to the painting. That day, I remember it. George had been fussing, it had been raining for a week, and then the sun came out. We just ran outside. Lupo was going mad, chasing leaves. She sighed, a happy, contented sound. "You've given me back that feeling." "How is that even possible?" "Because it's who you are," he said. "It's who we are." All this, he gestured around at the memorabilia. It's not the past. It's the foundation. It's what we've built everything on. I wanted you to remember that, especially today. They spent the next hour wandering through the glass house, picking up objects, sharing stories. The scarf prompted a tale of a freezing football match. The sailing glove reminded them of a near capsize in a dinghy. Each item was a thread in the rich tapestry of their life together. The portrait, however, remained the centerpiece, pulling her gaze back again and again. Later, they arranged for a simple lunch to be brought to the glass house. They ate surrounded by their history, talking and laughing with an ease that had been harder to find in recent months. For a few precious hours, the outside world, with its demands and scrutinies, ceased to exist. There was no palace, no monarchy, no pressure. There was only William and Catherine, 2 people who had chosen each other over 20 years ago, rediscovering the simple profound joy of their own story. As the afternoon light began to fade, casting long shadows through the glass, Catherine felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. The anxieties of the year felt smaller, put into perspective by the sheer weight of love and history in this room. Turning 44 wasn't a step into uncertainty. It was another step forward with the man who knew her soul, surrounded by the beautiful, chaotic life they had built. She looked at William, who was carefully rewrapping the old sketchbook. "This," she said, her voice clear and full of emotion, "is the best birthday I have ever had. It's the best gift anyone has ever given me." He smiled, the familiar, crinkly-eyed smile she loved. "It's not just for today. It's for always. The portrait, all of it, it's for our home. Our real home." She knew then that this day, this gift, was more than a sentimental gesture. It was an anchor. It was a promise woven